Day 152, 3 days after the attack. Dr. Okoye was recovering, but slowly. The hypoxia had caused minor brain damage, nothing permanent, Rita assured everyone. But her reaction time and cognitive processing were impaired. She'd need weeks of rest before returning to full duty, which left them without a dedicated physician for the remainder of the journey. Ryan floated in the observation module, staring at Mars. It was noticeably larger now, no longer just a point of light, but a visible disk. Beautiful and indifferent to the 7 people hurtling towards it through the void. 6.5, he corrected himself grimly. Okoye was alive, but barely functional. You spend a lot of time in here. Ryan turned. Elena had entered quietly, magnetic boots clicking as she approached the window. Helps me think, he said. About who it might be? Among other things. She stood beside him, arms crossed. I can't stop running through everyone in my mind. Reed's been to space 3 times. Why sabotage his own mission? Yuki lives for EVA work. She wouldn't risk the ship. Sergei's whole family are cosmonauts. This is his legacy. And Thomas, she trailed off. Thomas what? He saved Okoye, but if he was trying to kill her, why work so hard to keep her alive? Ryan had thought the same thing. Maybe he didn't expect someone to be in Module C. Maybe saving her was covered, make himself look like a hero. Or maybe he's not the saboteur, Elena countered. You two have been working together a lot. You trust him? Did he? Ryan had spent the last 3 days alongside Thomas, reviewing systems, checking protocols, trying to prevent another accident. Thomas had been thorough, professional, helpful. But so would a good saboteur. I don't trust anyone, Ryan finally said. Not even myself. Elena managed a weak smile. Smart policy. An alarm cut through the ship. Not the screaming emergency klaxon from before, but a steady beeping. Systems alert. Both their tablets chimed simultaneously. Ryan checked the screen. Atmospheric contamination detected. Galley food prep area. That's my station, Elena said, already pushing off toward the corridor. I need to check the hydroponics bay. Ryan followed her through the central hub to the agricultural section of the ship, a cylindrical module where Elena grew supplementary vegetables under LED lighting. The plants rotated slowly in microgravity, their roots suspended in nutrient mist. Elena pulled up the atmospheric sensors, her face going pale. What is it? Ryan asked. Methane levels are spiking. Something's decomposing in the system. She began checking the plant beds, moving quickly from one section to another. There! Oh God. Ryan looked. One of the larger lettuce beds had turned brown, the plants withered and rotting, but it wasn't natural decay. Someone introduced a bacterial agent, Elena said, her voice shaking. Decomposers. They're breaking down the organic matter and releasing methane. If this gets into the rare air recyclers... Can you contain it? I have to purge this entire section, sterilize it. We'll lose 2 weeks of crop growth, but if I don't... She was already sealing off the affected bed, her fingers flying across the control panel. Get Reed. Tell him we have another incident. Reed arrived with Thomas and Sergei. While Elena worked to contain the contamination, Thomas analyzed the bacterial agent. This isn't natural decomposition, he confirmed. Someone cultured these bacteria specifically to accelerate rot and produce methane. If Elena hadn't caught it early, the gas buildup could have reached toxic levels in the ventilation system within 48 hours. Toxic how? Reed asked. Methane displaces oxygen, high enough concentrations, and will all suffocate in our sleep. Clean, quiet, looks like a tragic malfunction. Sergei swore in Russian. Who had access to the hydroponics bay? Reed demanded. Everyone, Elena said miserably. It's not a restricted area. Anyone could have introduced the bacteria during the night cycle when I'm not monitoring. The bacteria would need to be cultured somewhere, Thomas added. Grown in a controlled environment before introduction. That takes equipment. Knowledge. Medical lab, Ryan realized. Okoye has the equipment to culture bacteria for research purposes. All eyes turned toward the medical bay, where Dr. Okoye was resting. No, Elena said firmly. Amara wouldn't do this. She could barely function right now. But someone with her access to their lab could, Ryan said grimly. Which is all of us, since she's been incapacitated. Another dead end. I want the medical lab locked down, Reed ordered. Elena, can you salvage any of the crops? About 60%. But we'll be on reduced rations for the next few weeks while I rebuild the affected sections. Do it. And from now on, the hydroponics bay is off limits except during your scheduled maintenance. Everyone else, stay out unless I personally authorize it. Day 156. The attempted poisoning had changed the atmosphere on the ship. Before, there had been suspicion. Now, there was fear. Crew members ate separately, watching each other. Conversations were clipped, professional. The easy camaraderie of the first month had evaporated. Ryan was running geological analysis simulations when Yuki appeared at a station, suited up for EVA. I need a second for external inspection, she said without preamble. Reads orders. We're checking for more disabled safety systems. Why me? Because everyone needs a buddy, and you're the only one not currently on a critical task. She handed him a second EVA suit. Come on, 4-hour EVA, external hull survey. Ryan had done EVA training, but he never enjoyed it. The idea of floating in the void with only a thin soup between him and a hard vacuum made his geological instincts scream. He belonged on solid ground, not an empty space. But Yuki was right. Someone needed to verify the hull integrity, and the buddy system meant she couldn't go alone. 20 minutes later, they were in the airlock, running pre-EVA checks. Comms check, Yuki said. Reading you clear, Ryan confirmed. Tether secured? Ryan checked the safety line. Clipped to the hull attachment point. Secured. Good. Stay close to me, follow my lead, and don't touch anything unless I tell you to. The outer airlock door opened. Space. Infinite, silent, and utterly indifferent. Earth was a distant blue marble behind them. Mars' growing red eye ahead. And in between, nothing but vacuum and starlight. Ryan's heart hammered in his chest. You good, Cross? Yuki's voice in his helmet. Yeah, just adjusting. First real EVA is always intense. Come on. She pushed off from the airlock, her tether trailing behind her as she magnetized to the hull. Ryan followed carefully, his magnetic boots finding purchase on the ship's exterior. Ares 1 looked different from outside. Fragile. A thin cylinder of metal and composite materials, bristling with communication arrays and solar panels, hanging in the void. Inside was life. Out here was death, meters away in every direction. Yuki was already moving along the hull, using a handheld scanner to check the emergency foam dispensers and hull integrity sensors. First section clear, she reported. Moving to Module B junction. Ryan followed, trying not to look at the infinite drop in every direction. They worked in silence for 90 minutes, checking system after system. Most were functional, a few showed signs of wear from micrometeoric impacts, but nothing critical. Then Yuki stopped. Cross, come look at this. Ryan maneuvered over to her position. She was examining one of the primary thruster assemblies, part of the maneuvering system used for course corrections. What am I looking at? The mounting bolt. It's been loosened, see? She pointed at the bolt head. Fresh tool marks. Someone's been out here. Could have been vibrated loose? Not a chance. These bolts are torqued to spec and safety wired. Someone deliberately loosened this. She checked the adjacent bolts. And this one. And this one. If I hadn't caught this, the next time we fired the thrusters assembly for a course correction, it would have torn free, Ryan finished, and sent us into uncontrolled tumble. We'd use up all of our maneuvering fuel trying to stabilize, assuming we could stabilize it at all. Ryan felt cold despite his suit's heating system. We need to report this. Agreed. Let me just... The tether damage point exploded. Not literally. No fire and vacuum. But the mechanical release mechanism activated, and Yuki's safety line went slack, the clamp detaching from the hull. No! Yuki grabbed for the hull, her magnetic boots the only thing keeping her attached. My tether just released. Ryan grabbed her arm. I've got you. Don't move. The release was remote activated, she said, her voice tight with controlled panic. Someone tried to kill me. Ryan's own tether felt suddenly fragile. He looked at the airlock, 50 meters away. Could they make it back if it's released too? Cross, Yuki said quietly. If my boots lose magnetic contact, I'll drift. Can your tether hold both of us? I don't know. Before he could say more, his tablet, mounted on his waist, displayed an alert. Remote airlock cycle initiated. The airlock doors were closing. Someone was sealing them outside. Reed! Ryan shouted into comms. Someone's cycling the airlock. We're still outside. Static. Comms are jammed, Yuki said. We're cut off. Ryan watched in horror as the outer airlock door began to close. Once it's sealed, they'd have no way back inside. They had 4 hours of oxygen in their EVA suits. After that, move. Yuki pushed off from the hall, her magnetic boost releasing. She flew toward the closing airlock. No tether, only momentum and desperate hope. Ryan hesitated for over a second before releasing his own boots and launching after. They tumbled through space, the stars wheeling around them. The airlock was closing. 30 seconds until sealed. 20 seconds. Yuki hit the outer door first, grabbing the handle and stopping her momentum. Ryan was going to overshoot. She grabbed his arm, the impact nearly tearing her grip loose, but she held on. 15 seconds. They pulled themselves through the outer door together just as it sealed shut behind them. The airlock was pitch black. Emergency lighting should have activated, but it didn't. Someone's trying to trap us here, Yuki said. Can you override the inner door manually? I can try. Ryan heard moving in the darkness, felt the vibration through his suit as she worked the manual release mechanism. A grinding sound. Then, the inner door opened, light flooding in, and standing in the corridor beyond, tablet in hand, was Thomas. Thank God, he said, genuine relief on his face. I saw the airlock cycling on the system's monitor. When I couldn't reach on comms, I thought. He stopped, seeing their faces. What happened? In the galley, with the full crew assembled, Yuki recounted the EVA incident while Thomas analyzed the system logs. The tether release was triggered remotely at 1447, he confirmed, and the airlock cycle was initiated 90 seconds later. Both commands came from a maintenance tablet. Which tablet? Reed demanded. Serial number puts it as... mine. Thomas looked up, his face pale. But I was in engineering when this happened. I have the logs to prove it. Logs can be faked, Sergei said quietly. Wait, Thomas protested. You think I did this? I'm the one who opened the inner airlock door to let them back in. Or you made sure you'd be there when they came back in, Yuki countered. To play hero again, like with Okoye. That's insane. Is it? Yuki turned to Reed. Thomas had saved people twice now. Right after accidents that required his specific expertise to resolve. The water system malfunction, the hull breach, now this. He's always in the right place at the right time. Because I'm the mechanical engineer, Thomas shot back. Of course I'm the one fixing mechanical problems. Or causing them, Elena said softly. Thomas looked around the table, seeing the suspicion on every face. You can't seriously believe. Ryan, tell them. We've been working together for days. You know I'm not. But Ryan was thinking. Thomas had been the one to suggest checking systems together, had been conveniently present for every incident, had intimate knowledge of all the ship's critical systems. I don't know what to think, Ryan admitted. Thomas's face fell. Right, of course. Reed stood. Harlow, I'm confining you at quarters until we sort this out. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but I can't afford to be wrong. Reed nodded to Sergei. Escort him, and secure any tablet or device he has access to. As Sergei led Thomas away, the engineer's eyes met Ryan's. There were hurt there, and something else Ryan couldn't quite identify. Fear. Day 159. With Thomas confined to quarters, the sabotage should have stopped. It didn't. Ryan was woken at 0400 by alarms. He launched himself toward the central hub, where crew members were already gathering. What now? He asked. Fire suppression system activated Module E, Reed said grimly. But there's no fire. Module E housed the main computer systems and navigation equipment, Sergei's domain. They found Sergei floating unconscious in the corridor outside his station, his face covered in white foam from the fire suppression system. He'd been caught in the discharge. Designed to be non-lethal, but could cause suffocation if someone was directly exposed. Elena started mouth to mouth while Ryan checked Sergei's vitals. Weak pulse, not breathing on his own. Come on, Elena breathed between compressions. Come on, Sergei. 1 minute. 2. Finally, Sergei coughed, gasping for air. Easy, Ryan said. You're okay. Just breathe. But Sergei's eyes were wild, panicked. He grabbed Ryan's arm with surprising strength. Thomas, he rasped. Wasn't Thomas. What? Saw someone. Not Thomas. Before the foam. His grip loosened, his eyes closed. Sergei, Elena checked his pulse. He's in shock. We need to get him to medical. But as they moved him, Ryan's mind raced. Sergei had seen someone trigger the fire suppression system, and it wasn't Thomas. Thomas was locked in quarters. Couldn't have done this. Which meant someone else was a saboteur. Someone who had let them believe it was Thomas. In the medical bay, with Sergei sedated and stable, The remaining crew gathered. 5 of them now. Reed, Yuki, Elena, Ryan, and Dr. Okoye. Still recovering, but conscious. It's not Thomas, Reed said flatly. He's been in lockdown for 3 days. There's no way he could have triggered that suppression system. Unless he had help, Yuki suggested. An accomplice. 2 saboteurs? Elena shook her head. That seems unlikely. What did Sergei say exactly? Okoye asked from her bed. He saw someone before the phone deployed, Ryan said. Said it wasn't Thomas. Did he say who it was? He lost consciousness before he could tell us. Reed ran a hand over his face. We need to let Thomas out, and we need to figure out who we're actually dealing with. But when they went to Thomas's quarters and unlocked the door, they found it empty. The room had been breached from the outside. A maintenance panel had been removed, giving access to the ventilation system. Thomas was gone, and somewhere on the ship, 2 people were now unaccounted for. The saboteur and the man they'd wrongly accused. Day 161. They found Thomas 18 hours later. He was in the cargo bay, wedged behind a stack of supply crates, his eyes open and empty. His suit showed signs of hypoxia. Someone had vented the atmosphere from the cargo bay while he was inside. He died slowly, suffocating in the dark, alone, and wrongly accused. Ryan stared at the body, feeling numb. They'd been wrong. They blamed Thomas, locked him up, and the real saboteur had used the opportunity to eliminate him. This is my fault, Reed said quietly. I should have seen it, should have protected him. But what haunted Ryan was simpler and more personal. Thomas had asked for his help. He looked at him with those hurt, fearful eyes, and Ryan had doubted him. The crew gathered in the galley one more time. 6 had become 5. Now they were 4. Reed, Yuki, Elena, Ryan. Okoye and Sergei were both in medical, sedated, and stabilized, but not functional. We're less than 6 weeks from Mars, Reed said. His voice was hoarse, exhausted. 4 of us left to run the ship. We've lost our mechanical engineer, our physician is compromised, our avionics specialist is in shock. Can we make it to Mars at this point? Elena asked. We don't have a choice. We can't turn back. We don't have the fuel. We can only go forward. So what do we do? Yuki said. Reed looked at each of them. We finish what we started. We get to Mars. We complete this mission, and we figure out which one of us is trying to stop that from happening. Ryan felt the weight of those words. One of the 4 people in this room was a killer, and they had 6 weeks to figure out who before they all ended up like Thomas.